Am I right? He's the younger one, but looks older. So
Yes, he
that's
does.
a blow
Yeah,
for the lad. He had a neat offload in that try assist and a great cover tackle on Hardacre. Arguably better than any of the tries when you're talking about highlight moments from this game was that cover tackle he made. I thought that was fantastic. Oledzki, really impressive. In fact, he bossed Wigan's pack to start the game, and maybe it raised a few questions about Wigan's pack. It also led to that incident that I alluded to before where Brad Singleton took a bit of a knock when he absolutely steamrolled over him, and either his pride and whatever else was hurt, or he actually should have gone off for a check. He didn't actually come back on Singleton after his first stint until the last 10 minutes or so of the game, which is been a bit unusual for his time so far at Wigan. So Oledzki definitely got the better of his former teammate there.
He just looks a bit like a sort of sci-fi orc or something, doesn't he, Singleton? Especially when he's injured, he just looks even more angry and grumpy and troll-like than he does normally.
Yeah, once he's injured, you sort of see that sort of one-shoulder drop, kind of coming out from under a bridge kind of situation. But I think he was, he has been quite good for Wigan though. But Oledzki was better than him.
He definitely, Mikel Oledzki definitely impressed me in this game. I really think he's got something that takes him to an extra level, and I think he's as we talked about earlier in the show about potential for England squads. I think if he carries on at this trajectory this season, he definitely is in the mix for me. And I think even if he doesn't make the World Cup and he misses out, I think he's definitely one that we'd be looking at potentially in France in 4 years' time.
Yeah, and playing big minutes as well as making a big impact in the minutes he played. So that, impressive all round. For Wigan, Farrell was Farrell. That swap of hands, it was really quite subtle, but the swap of hands he had whilst he was carrying the ball for his first try, in the tackle, he swapped hands to be able to make sure he had an easier put down. Really clever stuff, and should have got more recognition, I think, during the match coverage. Hastings was really good, and Agar picked it out after the game and said, he injected himself at the right times and controlled the tempo of the game, and he was the difference really. And I think he was the best player on the park. Although I really don't understand how Leeds bought that dummy for his try, because I think if he'd have let that pass go, it would have landed somewhere in the seats at the top of the South Stand, wouldn't it? But still, good play from him. Morgan Smithies had a strong game, and I think Wigan probably could and should have used him a bit more, because it seemed every time Wigan put him into that channel, they had a lot of success, and they were able to then use him as a dummy option after the success he was having. So he was making ground, getting quick play of the balls, really good ball in hand performance from Morgan Smithies in this game. And obviously it's been pulled out into the try of the week poll and stuff like that. Hardacre's solo try, really top play by him. The reading of the chance as much as the delivery of the skill, I suppose, was the most impressive thing. When he was interviewed after the game, he said he'd spotted that Broadbent was coming up a bit on those short side last tackle plays. He timed it perfectly, picked his moment really well. I actually think he could have kicked it a bit straighter and got himself close to the post and helped get his kicking form back in, if I'm being picky. I actually preferred the second Liam Farrell try to the Zach Hardacre one. I thought that should have been in the try of the week conversation. Young Smith showed all his skill and class that I talked about in the news section. That offload he got away and sucked in quite a few defenders as well, some of the bigger men, and Hastings then played the situation perfectly, didn't he, to make sure supporting Liam Farrell got an easy run to the line. So I'd pick out that try as the better one of the two. But Wigan clearly with a better side. Leeds still suffering on last tackle options. And Kyle Eastman, whilst he had 3 good kicks maybe in the second half, had 36 moments where he didn't get involved enough in the game in the first half to it's a building process. He was obviously not fit.
Yeah, I mean it's one of those things, isn't it? with the would he have played this time normally without an injury crisis? No way.
He wouldn't have started. Maybe they'd throw him in for time off the bench to get.
He might have come on for the last 20 minutes.
Yeah.
But if they could have afforded it, but so I think you've got to give him a bit of a pass from that point of view, that he did come in probably, well, certainly from a starting point of view, probably 2 to 3 weeks ahead of where he would have been.
And there was one set where I think they got a penalty. It might have even been the penalty that didn't find touch, and he was so late getting back onside. Or it might have been a 20-metre tap probably, but he was so late getting back onside because he was just knackered. And it's the fitness, isn't it? It's not the ability. He showed he still has the ability with the kick that set up the goal line dropout, that led the play that led to the try as well. He threw a good pass involved in that. He's still got it. It's just is way off the pace.
Yeah, and he'll regain that as he plays more games.
Yeah. Shall we get to Friday?
Why not? Just give me 7 seconds.
Well, we'll do the 6 o'clock kickoffs first. See if we can do them quickly, because we won't know that much about them before we get to the 7 seconds of joy for you, Tim.
That's a name of a tape I've looked up, I'm sure. Castleford 52, Lee 16, 34-0 at half-time. Tim Grant was the referee for this one.
No, it was Marcus Griffiths. I wrote down the wrong name.
This Marcus Griffiths. Okay.
Sorry, I apologise. I get them mixed up in scratchy YouTube highlight reels.
Cass put up an impressive set of numbers for this game. Over 500 more metres than their guests, 2.5 metres per carry, better average gain for 9 more clean breaks. The Centurions only making 6.7 metres per carry and had just an 86% team tackle success rate for that winning Tigers side. Daryl Alford scoring 2 tries, 9 tackle busts, 241 metres and 2 clean breaks. Niall Evalds, 1 try, 2 try assists and 160 metres. Peter Matautia, 8 tackle busts, 138 metres, 2 clean breaks, 3 offloads. And Greg Eden, 1 try, 1 try assist and 137 metres. For the losing Lee team, the only one to make the rundown was Matty Russell, 7 tackle busts, 143 metres and 4 offloads. We had a few fan views on this one.
Couple of notes out of the disciplinary first. Jesse Seni Lafayette got a grade B dangerous contact charge. He's got a 1-match penalty notice, so I guess that'll probably mean either Chase Blair or Tyler Heppy maybe he'll come back into things next week. And Nathaniel Petru from Lee got a grade A dangerous contact charge. That didn't result in any ban for the big Lee forward. Fatboy Rob got in touch with the first fan view. He said 9 tries from 8 different players, including an effort from Usain Watts and an Evalds try made by Linford Millington, but the best effort was Truman finishing a move he started after the ball went through almost the entire team's hands. Eden back and looks good. Try Machine Turner looks as good in the halves as on the wing, and Macca kicks goals from all over the pitch. Pissing the league is fun. #Coif.
And David Hunter, why is Lee even there? They offer nothing, Cass could have played their reserves and still won comfortably. They're there because they're the safe choice.
Yeah, well,
although
big
news,
not be
big news out of Lee that we didn't report is that young Derek is taking another social media break.
Oh.
And then announced this week, so I don't know what he's done or who's upset him this time.
Or just is kind of sick of seeing tweets about his team getting hammered every week, as well as watching them get hammered every week.
Could well be that. Do you know anything about this game?
I mean, I know that I put the radio on and I thought, I'll listen to this one first, and then it was 20 minutes in, it was 18-0, and it sounded like Liam Watts had just walked through the middle of the defence. So I thought, and then the tries just kept flowing, so I thought I'll listen to the other game instead. That sounded more tense, remarkably. So that is, yeah, as much as I know. Rob's summary sums up what the highlights showed us, that Watts and Millington both had really long breaks. So it doesn't look good for Lee, does it?
No, I don't think so. I think it's starting to form a sort of pack of 3 or 4 really that are going to be battling out for the bottom, but they do seem to be behind the curve even by that standard at the moment.
The other thing for Lee as well is they can't get their head straight on who they want to play where, who they should play there. So they've Brearley started the season at fullback, didn't he? Then Wallace went to fullback. Wallace was injured, so didn't play this week. Brearley went back to fullback, even though in the game last week Mullen went to fullback when Wallace got injured, not Brearley. Then in this game, by the end of the game, Mullen was at fullback and Brearley was back in the halves. And so, it's just all a big mix-up, really. Senny Lefeo must have got his ban for the late challenge that he put on Tyrone McCarthy that also saw him get sin-binned. But even in that sin-bin period, Cass scored 2 tries before Lee did their seemingly inevitable score a couple of tries late to suggest that they can play at this level when the other team's completely switched off.
Yeah, it's wow. I think they need to find some solid defence from somewhere that will at least keep them in games, so that they're not, by the time they're starting to play, they're not 20, 30 points behind.
Yeah, that's a challenge for them, isn't it? What have you made of Cass so far this year, though? I mean, big score, lots of try scorers, scoring all over the park wherever they play.
They've done it in some regard, but we haven't seen them in a proper battle, in a proper arm wrestle yet.
Well, they put themselves in one, didn't they, against you guys in the cup?
Yeah.
But again, it seemed like when they wanted to score tries, they didn't have too much challenge from the opposition.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's not. We haven't seen them properly tested yet.
Yeah, potentially so. Let's move on to a side that we haven't seen get out of second gear yet, and that's St Helens. This one, Tim, was a bit weird. It was 0-0 at half-time. James Child was the referee who oversaw. Things changed quite rapidly after the half-time interval, and it finished 34 points to 6 in favour of St Helens over Wakefield. Wakefield made just 878 metres at just 5.5 metres per carry average gain. Saints haven't let a team go over 1,000 metres yet. That is fucking remarkable.
Wow.
Saints did make 6 more errors, but more breaks and 5% team tackle success rate, better than their visitors, as well as wins on all the metre stats, helped them win comfortably in the end. Individually, Jack Wellesby, 1 try, 2 try assists, 7 tackle plus 149 metres. 1 try, I don't know who this is, I haven't written the person's name. 1 try, 43 tackles and 146 metres for someone. No, it was James Bentley. Alex Walmsley with 111 metres. I feel like that's not a big enough number to normally get in the roundup. And Kevin Nguama, 2 tries, 5 tackles, 102 metres and 2 clean breaks. For Wakefield, Jay Pitts with a try and 43 tackles, and Lee Kershaw coming in for his first game of the year, 102 metres on the wing. No notes out the disciplinary on this one, Tim, so let's get into the fan views.
Yep, St David said a first half arm wrestle littered with penalties set restart to the yellow card. A second half masterclass of attacking rugby. Wellesby is getting better every game. What a star this lad is going to be. Wingfield was very impressive on debut as well. We haven't played a good team yet, but we're looking good. Come on, you mighty Stains.
I thought Wingfield.
Saints. Sorry, you said Saints.
I thought Wingfield played a game last year, but I might be wrong. But some good comments there. Interesting, that yellow card was for Bentley, so he managed to get over 40 tackles and nearly 150 metres in not even a full game. So that's pretty impressive. Mike Webb, at Mike Webb 58 said, "Finally, lockdown got to me. Was looking forward to the match, but only realised at the last minute that it was the first game not on Sky in 13 months. From the highlights,